My dead wife checked into room 17 at 8:42 on the night of her own memorial. At least, that was what the reservation card said. Guest name: Rose Holloway. Arrival date: October 18th. Special request: do not allow Marcus to enter before James. My son was standing beneath the chandeliers of Holloway House when the brass bell rang at the front desk. 186 guests had gathered to remember his mother. Old friends, former employees, town officials, suppliers, guests who had spent every summer at our inn for more than 30 years. Marcus had just finished telling all of them that I was no longer capable of managing my own life. He said it with one hand resting gently on my shoulder, as though humiliating me publicly was an act of love. Dad has been struggling since Mom became ill. His voice trembled at exactly the right moments. His wife, Celeste, stood beside him wearing black silk and an expression of rehearsed concern. Marcus continued. The family has made a difficult but necessary decision. Holloway House has been sold to Halcyon Resorts. The room reacted with a collective breath. Some guests turned toward me. Others looked at the old photographs covering the walls. Rose standing beside the original porch. Rose planting hydrangeas. Rose laughing behind the front desk with a pencil pushed through her hair. Marcus squeezed my shoulder. The sale will give Dad the care and stability he needs. We have reserved a beautiful private apartment for him at Cedar Pines. He will be safe there. Safe. A useful word when you want to imprison someone politely. A few people applauded. Not because they approved. Because silence frightened them. Marcus smiled gratefully and lifted a champagne glass. To Mom. And to the next chapter of Holloway House. That was when the front desk bell rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. Every head turned. Miriam Cole stood behind the reception desk. She had worked at the inn for 34 years. She was holding an old brass room key in one hand and a cream-colored reservation card in the other. Her face had gone pale. Marcus lowered his glass. "What are you doing?" Miriam did not look at him. She looked at me. "Mr. Holloway, your wife's final reservation is ready." Celeste stepped forward. "That is not possible." Miriam held up the card. "She made it herself." "When?" 11 days before she died." Marcus moved toward the desk. "Give me the key." Miriam closed her fingers around it. "No." His voice sharpened. "I own this hotel now." From somewhere near the back of the room, a woman answered. "No, Marcus. You don't." My daughter Anna stepped out from behind the last row of chairs. I had not seen her in 12 years. The last time she stood inside Holloway House, I had called her a thief and ordered her never to return. Now she wore a dark blue coat. Her hair was shorter. There were lines around her eyes that had not existed when I drove her away. Beside her stood a young woman I recognized only from photographs. My granddaughter Sophie. She had been 7 years old when I last held her hand. She was 19 now. And she was looking at me as though she had spent half her life deciding whether I deserved to be hated. Marcus stared at his sister. "You were not invited." Anna looked toward Rose's photograph. "Mom invited me." Miriam came around the desk and placed the key inside my palm. The metal was cold. A small wooden tag hung beneath it. 17. I looked toward the staircase. Room 17 was on the 3rd floor. It had remained locked since the morning Rose died. Marcus had repeatedly ordered Miriam to open it. She had refused. He threatened to fire her. She told him he would have to wait until after the memorial. Until that moment, I thought grief had made her protective of Rose's favorite room. I had no idea my wife had planned the entire night. Marcus blocked the staircase. "Dad, you are not going up there." I looked at the hand he placed against the railing. Then at him. I thought I couldn't make decisions. "You're emotional. It is your mother's memorial. I would be concerned if I wasn't." His jaw tightened. Whatever is inside that room belongs to the new owners. Anna stepped closer. You should be very careful about what you say next. Marcus laughed without humor. You disappear for 12 years and return with legal advice? No. She looked toward Sophie. I returned with a witness. Sophie removed a sealed envelope from her coat. Rose's handwriting covered the front. For my granddaughter, when she is finally old enough to know why her mother left. The memorial guests began whispering. Marcus turned toward Celeste. For the first time that evening, neither of them looked prepared. Miriam touched my arm. We should go upstairs. What is inside the room? She shook her head. Mrs. Holloway never told me. She only said that when the bell rang, the truth would already be too late to stop. I climbed the stairs with my dead wife's key in my hand. Anna followed. Sophie walked beside her. Miriam came behind us. And despite his announcement that he had sold our home, Marcus followed too. When I unlocked room 17, the curtains were closed. A single lamp glowed beside the bed. Fresh roses stood on the table. Rose had arranged for them before she died. An old television faced the chairs. On the desk sat a small black box and another envelope. My name was written across it. I stepped inside. The television switched on by itself. Rose appeared on the screen. She was thinner than I remembered. A blue scarf covered the hair chemotherapy had taken. But her eyes were alive. Sharp. Certain. Completely herself. She looked directly into the camera. James, if you are watching this, our son has done exactly what I was afraid he would do. Marcus moved toward the television. I stepped in front of him. Rose continued. He has told everyone you are confused. He has announced the sale of Holloway House. And Anna is probably standing somewhere nearby, wondering whether you will fail her a second time. My daughter looked away. I felt something inside my chest collapse. Rose leaned closer to the camera. Do not sign anything. The hotel was never Marcus's to sell. And Anna never stole that money. 12 years of certainty disappeared in one sentence. But before I tell you what Rose left inside room 17, you need to understand how Holloway House became the kind of place a family could destroy itself trying to own. My name is James Holloway. I was 70 years old when my wife arranged her final reservation. Rose and I purchased Holloway House in 1984. It was not called Holloway House then. It was called the Bellwether Boarding Home, and most people in town believed it should be condemned. The roof leaked. Half the windows were broken. The plumbing made noises that suggested something trapped inside the walls was trying to communicate. The third-floor hallway leaned slightly toward the ocean. And room 17 smelled permanently of damp wood and lavender. Rose fell in love with it immediately. We were 28. Newly married. Completely unqualified. I had worked as a carpenter. Rose had managed the front desk of a motel near Portland. We had $8,000 in savings and a dangerous amount of confidence. The real estate agent walked us through the building during a rainstorm. Water dripped into metal buckets. The wallpaper peeled from the dining room walls. A dead bird lay inside the fireplace. I looked at Rose. She was smiling. What? We could save it. We could catch several diseases inside it. I'm serious. So am I. She walked to the front windows. Beyond the wet glass, the Atlantic struck the rocks below the cliff. People would come here when they needed to remember what life was supposed to feel like. I laughed. People would come here and ask why the ceiling is falling. Then you'll fix the ceiling. That was how most of our marriage worked. Rose imagined something impossible. I explained why it would fail. Then we did it anyway. We borrowed money from my brother. Rose sold the small diamond earrings her mother had left her. I worked construction during the day and repaired rooms at night. Rose cleaned, painted, answered telephones, cooked breakfast, and learned how to charm building inspectors without technically bribing them. Our first summer, we opened 6 rooms. We had 4 guests. 2 complained about the water pressure. 1 left after discovering a mouse near the pantry. The 4th was an elderly widow named Mrs. Pike. She stayed 3 weeks. On her final morning, Mrs. Pike placed a $20 bill beneath her plate. Then she handed Rose a folded note. It said, "My husband and I planned to see the Maine coast before he died. Thank you for making it feel as though he came with me." Rose framed the note. It hung behind the reception desk for 37 years. Whenever business became difficult, she pointed toward it. "That is what we sell. Not beds. Not breakfast. A place where people can carry what they have lost." I used to tease her about saying things like that. But the truth was, Rose understood the inn more deeply than I ever did. I built walls. She understood what happened inside them. Marcus was born during our 3rd summer. Anna arrived 3 years later. They grew up behind the front desk. Guests watched them learn to walk. Housekeepers babysat them during busy weekends. The kitchen staff baked birthday cakes. A retired teacher from Boston taught Marcus to play chess in the lounge. A honeymooning couple once found Anna asleep inside a linen cart. The inn was not only our business. It was the 3rd parent in our family. It fed us, sheltered us, demanded attention at inconvenient hours, and sometimes received more love than either of our children. I did not understand that last part until years later. Marcus was serious from childhood. He counted tips before he learned multiplication. At 9, he created a chart showing which rooms required the most repairs. At 13, he convinced me to charge more during holiday weekends. At 16, he knew our occupancy rate better than I did. Anna was different. She remembered guests. She knew which elderly couple preferred room 4 because the stairs were easier. She left handwritten notes for honeymooners. When storms trapped travelers, Anna organized card games in the dining room. At 14, she sat all night with a woman whose husband suffered a heart attack during dinner. Rose saw herself in Anna. I saw the future of the business in Marcus. That difference shaped our family more than I realized. When Marcus finished college, he returned with a degree in hospitality management. He modernized our booking system, renegotiated supplier contracts, introduced wedding packages, turned the winter season profitable for the first time. I praised him constantly. Anna studied social work. She moved to Portland, married young, had Sophie. Her marriage ended after 4 years. She returned to Holloway House with a 7-year-old daughter, 2 suitcases, and an expression that asked me not to mention failure. Rose welcomed her home. I gave her a job. At the time, I believed those were the same thing. They were not. Anna created a guest relations program. She partnered with local shelters to provide temporary rooms during winter emergencies. She organized free anniversary dinners for couples who had married at the inn. The programs did not produce much profit. Marcus called them sentimental expenses. Rose called them the reason the inn deserved its name. Marcus married Celeste 2 years later. She had worked for a luxury hotel group in New York. She was elegant, observant, and capable of making criticism sound like advice. During her first week at Holloway House, she suggested replacing the framed note for Mrs. Pike with digital artwork. Rose stared at her for several seconds, then said, "Some things become valuable because no one had the poor judgment to replace them." Celeste laughed. She thought Rose was joking. Rose was not. For several years, the family worked together. Not peacefully, but successfully. Marcus controlled finances and expansion. Anna handled guests and community programs. Celeste managed events and marketing. Rose remained everywhere. I handled renovations and final decisions. Then we decided to restore the North Wing. The project required more than $2 million. We secured financing, created a renovation account, and began what should have been the most important improvement in the inn's history. 3 months later, $240,000 disappeared. The first person to find the missing money was Marcus. He called an emergency meeting inside room 17 because the office was being renovated. Rose sat near the window. Celeste stood behind Marcus. Anna arrived late after collecting Sophie from school. I remember the child coloring quietly in the hallway while we destroyed her family inside. Marcus placed bank statements on the table. 3 transfers were made to an account in Portland. Anna looked confused. What account? One registered to North Harbor Community Services. The organization was connected to Anna's shelter program. Her face changed. I didn't authorize this. Your access code was used. Then somebody used it. Celeste spoke gently. No one else knew your code. Marcus did. My son stared at her. Why would I transfer money into your account? It isn't my account. The registration lists your former co-worker. She left the organization last year. So this is a coincidence? Anna turned toward me. Dad, I did not take anything. I should have asked more questions. I should have slowed the room down. I should have noticed how quickly Marcus produced complete explanations. I should have listened to Rose, who had not spoken once. Instead, I looked at the statements. At the access records. At the paperwork Marcus had organized into a perfect stack. Then I looked at my daughter, who had returned home after a failed marriage and depended on us financially. And I made the worst decision of my life. Where is the money, Anna? Her expression changed. Not into guilt. Into disbelief. You believe him? I believe the records. You believe Marcus. This is not about choosing children. It became that the second you asked me instead of him. Rose finally spoke. James, we need an independent audit. Marcus turned toward her. Every day we delay increases the risk. What risk? Celeste answered. Public exposure. We have weddings booked. Lenders. Employees. If people hear that a member of the family diverted funds. I did not divert anything, Anna said. Marcus lowered his voice. Return it quietly. We can protect Sophie from this. Anna stepped toward him. Do not use my daughter to frighten me. I stood. Enough. Anna looked at me. I still remember the hope in her face. Even then, she believed I would become her father again. Instead, I said. You need to leave until we understand what happened. The hope disappeared. How long? I don't know. Where am I supposed to go? You have friends in Portland. This is my home. Not while this remains unresolved. Rose stood so quickly the chair struck the wall. James. I said until it is resolved. Anna looked at her mother. Then at me. Finally, she nodded. Not because she agreed. Because some pain is too large to argue with immediately. She collected Sophie from the hallway. My granddaughter held a purple crayon in one hand. Are we going home? Anna looked back at me. No, sweetheart. Not anymore. They left before sunset. I expected Anna to call after she calmed down. She did not. I expected the money to reappear. It did not. Marcus produced an internal report supporting the accusations. The receiving organization claimed its account had been compromised. Our insurer reimbursed part of the loss. The police investigation went nowhere. I told myself the lack of charges was a kindness. Rose called it proof we did not know the truth. For the next 12 years, my wife refused to discuss Anna as though she were guilty. She mailed birthday cards to Sophie. Sometimes they came back. Sometimes they did not. Rose traveled to Portland twice each year. She invited me every time. I always found a reason not to go. The first year, I was angry. The second, embarrassed. After that, the distance itself became an excuse. Calling would require admitting that too much time had passed. So I allowed more time to pass. Pride rarely feels like pride while you are inside it. It feels like waiting for the other person to become reasonable. Holloway House prospered. The north wing opened. Wedding magazines featured us. Celeste redesigned the website. Marcus became general manager. I gave speeches about family legacy while one of my children no longer spoke to me. Guests applauded. Rose stood beside me and smiled for photographs. Her eyes never smiled during those speeches. Then she became ill. Ovarian cancer had already spread before doctors found it. Rose accepted the diagnosis with the same practicality she brought to leaking roofs. She created medication schedules, updated staff instructions, taught Miriam how to make her cranberry bread, placed labels on boxes I had ignored for decades. I became angry at everything. Doctors, traffic, insurance forms, people who said she looked strong, people who looked away because she did not. Rose remained Rose. One evening, after chemotherapy, I helped her into room 17. It had the clearest view of the lighthouse. She sat near the window with a blanket around her shoulders. "Call Anna." I stared toward the ocean. "She knows you're ill." That wasn't what I said. "She has not contacted me. You threw her out." The words landed harder because illness had removed Rose's patience for protecting me. I believed she stole from us. You believed the child who told you what you wanted to hear. What does that mean? It means Marcus gave you records. Anna gave you pain. You chose the version easier to examine. I walked toward the door. Rose's voice stopped me. "If I die before you repair this, you will lose both of us." I turned. She was crying. Rose rarely cried in front of me. Not because she was ashamed. Because she believed tears should be used honestly. I don't know how to begin. Begin badly. What? Call her and say the wrong things. Let her become angry. Let her hang up. Then call again. You keep waiting for a perfect sentence because you are afraid an imperfect one will prove you were wrong. Were we wrong? Rose looked at me for a long time. I believe we were. That should have been enough. My wife had trusted her instincts more accurately than anyone I knew. But 12 years of certainty is difficult to surrender. I promised I would call. Then I waited another week. During that week, Marcus presented his first proposal to sell the inn. He brought Celeste and a representative from Halcyon Resorts into our private apartment. Victor Lane was 50, polished, and spoke about history the way developers speak when preparing to demolish it carefully. He praised the original woodwork, the ocean views, the untapped luxury potential. His proposal valued Holloway House at $18 million. Marcus placed the number in front of me as though it settled every question. We could all walk away secure. I am already secure. This is not only about you. No. It is also about the 63 employees you plan to replace. Victor Lane smiled. No employment decisions have been finalized. Your plan converts staff housing into premium suites. We would assist with relocation. To where? That depends on individual circumstances. That means nowhere. Marcus rubbed his forehead. Dad, the building needs at least $4 million in work. Then we repair it. With what? The reserve account. The reserve is not enough. Then we borrow. You are 70 years old. What does that have to do with the roof? Celeste leaned forward. It means Marcus will inherit the debt. Marcus will inherit an inn that has supported this family for 40 years. He does not want it, she said. The room became quiet. Marcus looked at her. Then at me. She didn't mean it that way. How did she mean it? I don't want to spend the rest of my life repairing pipes and comforting guests because their room faces the garden instead of the ocean. His voice rose. I have spent my entire life inside this building. I never chose it. There are truths people deserve to say. The fact that they are entitled to say them does not make them painless to hear. You could have left. Marcus laughed bitterly. And become what? The son who abandoned the family? Anna already had that position. Rose was sitting near the window. Illness had exhausted her, but anger straightened her posture. Do not speak about your sister that way. Marcus looked toward her. She stole from us. Rose's voice became quiet. No. She did not. Marcus's expression changed. Only for a second. Fear. I saw it. Then it disappeared behind concern. Mom, your medication is affecting you. Rose stared at him. That was the moment she knew. I would understand this later. At the time, I saw only a sick mother arguing with an exhausted son. Rose ended the meeting. Holloway House will not be sold while I am alive. Victor collected his documents. Marcus did not argue. He kissed her cheek. Told her to rest. Then left with Celeste. Rose waited until their car disappeared. Then she looked at me. Change the locks on room 17. Why? Because I'm going to find our daughter. I thought she meant she was going to call Anna. She meant something much larger. During the final 4 months of her life, Rose quietly investigated the missing renovation money. She contacted our retired bookkeeper, Thomas Avery. She hired an independent forensic accountant. She asked Miriam to retrieve storage boxes Marcus believed had been destroyed. And without telling me, she traveled to Portland with a nurse and met Anna. I discovered the meeting by accident. A receipt from a Portland cafe fell from Rose's handbag. You saw her. Rose did not deny it. Yes. How is she? Angry. At me? Mostly. Did she ask about me? No. That answer hurt more than anger would have. Anger still contains connection. Indifference is what remains after someone becomes tired of hoping. What did you tell her? That I believed her. You do not have proof. I am working on it. You should have told me. Rose looked at me. You had 12 years to tell yourself. I left the room. Not because she was wrong. Because grief, guilt, and pride had crowded inside me until there was no room for conversation. 3 weeks later, Rose collapsed near the front desk. Her condition declined rapidly after that. Marcus became more involved in her care. Celeste organized medication. I sat beside Rose's bed and tried to memorize the shape of her hands. There is no sensible reason to do that. Grief begins collecting evidence before death arrives. One night, Rose woke shortly before dawn. James. I'm here. Room 17 remembers. What does that mean? Promise me you won't sign anything. I promise. Not for Marcus. Not for a doctor. Not because you are tired. I said I promise. She closed her eyes. Then whispered. Bring Anna home. Rose died 2 days later. For the first week after her death, I moved through Holloway House as though the rooms belonged to someone else. People brought food. Employees hugged me. Guests left flowers. I thanked everyone and remembered almost nothing. Marcus handled arrangements. Celeste planned the memorial. They selected photographs, contacted guests, designed programs, and removed decisions for me so gently that I felt grateful. That was how they began taking control. First, Marcus offered to manage my correspondence. Then the bank accounts. Then medical appointments. Celeste began telling employees not to bring problems to me. She explained that I needed rest. When I forgot where I placed my glasses, Marcus watched me too carefully. When I called a guest by her sister's name, Celeste exchanged a glance with him. Grief had made me distracted. They turned distraction into evidence. Dr. Franklin had treated our family for 20 years. He examined me 2 weeks after Rose died. You're grieving. I knew that without the co-payment. He almost smiled. Your memory testing is normal. Your blood pressure is not. Marcus says I'm becoming confused. Dr. Franklin removed his glasses. Marcus asked me to sign an incapacity statement. What did you say? I told him grief was not dementia. That should have warned me clearly enough. But part of me still believed my son was frightened. Parents can mistake control for concern when it comes from their children. 3 days later, Marcus brought another doctor to Holloway House. Dr. Pierce specialized in senior care. He asked me the date. The president's name. 3 words to remember. Then he asked whether I had experienced unusual suspicions. What qualifies as unusual? Believing relatives intend to harm or exploit you. My son is trying to sell my hotel. Dr. Pierce made a note. I looked toward Marcus. He lowered his eyes with the exhausted expression of a devoted son. The performance was almost good enough to make me doubt myself. That evening, Miriam found me sitting alone inside room 17. Rose's perfume remained faintly inside the curtains. Miriam closed the door. Mrs. Holloway told me something before she died. What? She said Marcus would move quickly. Why didn't you tell me? She told me not to. She said you would defend him until he frightened you personally. I became angry. At least she understood you, Miriam said. The anger disappeared. What else did she say? That I must keep this room locked. Until when? Until the memorial bell. What memorial bell? She said I would know. Miriam removed a folded piece of paper from her pocket. It contained a telephone number. Mrs. Holloway said you should call this person only when Marcus gives you papers to sign. Who is it? Your daughter. I stared at the number. 12 years of silence fit onto one small line of ink. I placed it inside my wallet. Then spent 4 days refusing to call. On the 5th morning, Marcus gave me the papers. We were eating breakfast in the private dining room. Celeste poured coffee. Marcus placed a leather folder beside my plate. These are temporary. What are they? A management authorization. For the memorial? For everything. The documents gave Marcus authority over the hotel, my financial accounts, medical decisions, and the family property. Page 14 authorized the sale to Halcyon. Page 18 approved my move to Cedar Pines. You already selected an apartment? Celeste smiled gently. It has an ocean view. So does my bedroom. You cannot manage all these stairs. I managed them yesterday. Marcus leaned forward. This is not a punishment. Then why does it feel like one? His patience cracked. Because you are refusing to accept reality. Your wife is gone. The hotel is failing. You cannot run it. And I am not spending the rest of my life rescuing a building you should have sold 10 years ago. I looked at him. For the first time, I did not see a worried son. I saw the man Rose had been preparing to stop. I need time to read. You have until the memorial. Why? Halcyon's offer expires Monday. And you plan to announce it publicly. Marcus became silent. Celeste answered. We thought a celebration of the future would comfort people. Which people? She did not answer. I took the folder. Then went upstairs and called Anna. She answered after 6 rings. Neither of us spoke. Finally, she said. Mom told me you might call. My throat tightened. I should have called years ago. Yes. I'm sorry. That is not enough. I know. Do you? I sat on the edge of the bed. Rose's side remained untouched. No. I probably don't understand everything I did. But I want to. Anna laughed once. The sound contained no joy. Mom dies, Marcus turns on you, and suddenly you want to understand. That is fair. Stop telling me my anger is fair. It sounds like something you say so you can remain calm. What should I say? The truth. I believed him. You chose him. Yes. You threw Sophie and me out without somewhere to live. Yes. You never called on her birthday. Your mother said you returned the cards. I returned yours. I kept hers. The room became difficult to breathe inside. I don't know how to repair this. You may not be able to. I understand. No. Her voice softened for the first time. You are still saying what you think a reasonable person should say. Try being my father. I closed my eyes. I missed you. Anna did not speak. I missed you every Christmas. I looked at Sophie's photographs your mother kept inside her desk. I drove to Portland once. Her voice changed. When? 6 years ago. I sat across from your apartment building for 2 hours. Why didn't you come inside? Because I was afraid you would not open the door. Anna began crying. Her tears did not comfort me. They accused me more honestly than anger. You decided for me again. Yes. You always decide what other people can bear. Then you call it protection. I'm sorry. This time, she did not tell me it was insufficient. She simply breathed. Finally, she asked, "What did Marcus give you?" I told her about the documents. The sale. The doctor. Cedar Pines. Anna listened without interruption. Then she said, "Do not sign." Your mother said the same thing. She knew more than either of us. What did she find? I don't have everything. Who does? Mom. I looked toward the locked door of room 17. For the first time, I understood that Rose's final weeks had not been only about preparing to die. She had been preparing us to survive what came afterward. Anna agreed to meet me. Not at Holloway House. At a small bakery halfway between Portland and Bellwether. She arrived with Sophie. My granddaughter stood outside the bakery studying me. She had Rose's eyes. That was the first thing I noticed. The second was that she did not move closer. "Hello, Sophie." "Mr. Holloway." The name hurt. I deserved it. Anna watched for my reaction. I nodded. "Thank you for coming." Inside, Sophie sat beside her mother. I sat across from them. There was no safe beginning. So I did what Rose had told me. I began badly. "I should not have thrown you out." Anna looked at the table. "I should have demanded an independent audit. I should have called. I should have come to your door 6 years ago. I should have been at Sophie's school events. Birthdays. Everything." Sophie's expression remained still. "Did you think my mom stole the money all 12 years? Yes. Then why would you come to our school events? Because she was still my daughter." Sophie looked toward Anna. "Didn't feel like it." "No. It probably did not." Anna removed a folder from her bag. "Mom gave me this." Inside were copies of bank records. Emails. Handwritten notes. Rose had traced part of the missing money through an account connected to a development company formed by Marcus and Celeste. The $240,000 had been used as a secret deposit on land beside the inn. Marcus intended to build luxury cottages. The town rejected the proposal. The investment failed. To hide the loss, he routed transfers through the community organization connected to Anna. My hands became cold. Why did the access records show Anna's code? Anna answered. "Marcus asked me for it the week before. He claimed the system needed testing." "Why didn't you tell us?" "I did. You said siblings often shared passwords." I remembered. Not the exact words. The impatience. Anna had tried to explain. I had already decided the records were stronger than her voice. "Is this enough to prove it?" "No." Anna turned another page. Mom believed the original authorization log still existed. "Where?" She thought our old bookkeeper kept backups. "Thomas Avery." "Yes." "Did she contact him?" "She did." "What did he say?" "That he would speak only to you." Thomas lived 2 hours inland. He was 81 and cared for his wife, who no longer recognized him most mornings. When I called, he became silent. Then he said, "I wondered how long it would take." How long would it take? For Rose to make you ask the right question. "Do you have the logs?" "Yes." "Why did you never show me?" Thomas's answer was quiet. "Because your son made sure I believed showing you would destroy my family." Marcus had discovered that Thomas's adult son had taken money from a separate vendor account. A smaller amount. He threatened criminal charges unless Thomas confirmed the internal report blaming Anna. Thomas agreed. Then kept copies of everything. I told myself I was protecting my son. I understand that mistake, I said. No. Thomas's voice hardened. Understanding is not the same as forgiving. I have lived 12 years knowing an innocent woman lost her family because I was a coward. Do not make what I did easier because you did something similar. He was right. Again. Truth arrived from every direction once I stopped refusing to face it. Thomas agreed to meet our attorney. He provided the original logs. They proved the transfers had been created from Marcus's office computer. Anna's code had been entered manually after administrator access bypassed the normal verification system. Marcus was the only executive with that level of access. We had enough to expose the old fraud. But not enough to stop the sale. Marcus had already convinced 2 trustees that I was mentally declining. He claimed Rose verbally approved the deal before her death. Halcyon's attorneys were preparing to close immediately after the memorial. Then Marcus discovered I had met Anna. He arrived at my private apartment shortly after midnight. Celeste came with him. You called her? I did. Mom told you not to. Your mother spent her final months seeing Anna. The statement struck him. Celeste recovered first. Rose was heavily medicated. She was clearer than any of us. Marcus closed the door. What did Anna tell you? The truth. What truth? That she never stole from us. Marcus looked at Celeste. Again, only for a moment. Again, I saw fear. This time I did not explain it away. She is manipulating you. Thomas Avery kept the logs. Silence. Marcus sat down. Celeste remained standing. Thomas is confused, she said. His memory has been unreliable for years. He kept the digital records. Marcus looked toward me. What do you want? The question surprised me. Not. Is it true? Not. How could you believe this? He asked what I wanted because guilt had already moved beyond denial and entered negotiation. I want you to cancel the sale. Restore Anna's name. Tell Sophie what you did. And resign from the inn. Celeste laughed softly. You cannot be serious. I am. Marcus rubbed both hands over his face. The money was going to come back. Then the town rejected the cottages. I panicked. You framed your sister. I was 32. You were old enough to understand what happened when she left with a child. I thought Mom would convince you to let her return. You knew I would. He looked at me. That was when the oldest anger between us entered the room. You always trusted records more than people. You knew exactly what evidence I would believe. So this is my fault? No. His voice broke. But you made it easy. There are accusations that contain manipulation. There are others that contain truth. Marcus had committed the betrayal. But he had understood the weakness inside me well enough to use it. I failed Anna. I will answer for that. But you will answer for what you did. Marcus's expression hardened. You are not taking this place from me and giving it to her. It was never promised to you. My entire life was promised to it. Celeste stepped closer. James, think carefully. If this becomes public, the inn will be destroyed. The scandal. The lenders. The weddings. The employees you claim to protect. We can resolve everything privately. How? You sign the sale documents. We provide Anna with a financial settlement. No one needs to know. And Marcus keeps the money. We all move forward. I looked at my son. Is that what you want? He did not answer. Celeste answered for him. It is the only sensible option. No. I stood. It is the option that allows both of you to remain comfortable. Marcus's voice became cold. Then you leave me no choice. What does that mean? It means Dr. Pierce has already signed his preliminary assessment. 2 trustees support temporary guardianship. Tomorrow morning, Your financial access will be suspended. And until the court reviews your condition, I will control the property. My own son had prepared to declare me incompetent before he knew I had evidence against him. The sale was not simply an opportunity. It was a plan. Marcus opened the door. I wanted to do this gently. I looked at him. No. You wanted me to make it easy. The next morning, my bank cards stopped working. By noon, Marcus had changed the office locks. At 3, security informed Miriam that I was not permitted to access business records. By evening, a temporary court order gave Marcus control over hotel operations pending a capacity hearing. I was allowed to remain inside my apartment. Marcus described that as compassion. Celeste began selecting furniture for Cedar Pines. For the first time since Rose died, I felt defeated. Not afraid. Defeated. There is a difference. Fear imagines what may be lost. Defeat arrives when the loss begins happening around you. Miriam was fired 2 days later. Her official violation was insubordination. Her real offense was keeping room 17 locked. She packed 34 years of employment into one cardboard box. As she left, she placed the front desk bell inside my hands. Mrs. Holloway said I should give you this if Marcus fired me. Why? She said every story needs a bell before the final act. I laughed. Then cried so suddenly I had to sit down. Rose had planned even that. Miriam crouched beside me. She knew you would be frightened. I am not frightened. You have been frightened for 12 years. She touched my hand. Not of Marcus. Of admitting what you did to Anna. After she left, I sat behind the front desk until midnight. Employees moved around me carefully. No one knew whether speaking to me would cost them their jobs. Marcus had turned me into a ghost inside my own home. Then Sophie appeared. She entered through the kitchen door carrying a backpack. How did you get inside? Mom used to hide a key beneath a stone planter. That was 12 years ago. She checked yesterday. It was still there. I almost smiled. Some families hide spare keys longer than they hold forgiveness. Sophie sat across from me. Mom thinks coming here will make things worse. She is probably right. I wanted to see the place. Do you remember it? Pieces. The stairs. Grandma's cranberry bread. A room with yellow curtains. Room 6. You gave me a wooden boat. I made it. I still have it. That surprised me. Why? Sophie shrugged. Because children keep proof that someone once loved them. The sentence was too old for 19. I wondered how much of that age I had placed inside her. I am sorry. I know. You do? Grandma said you would be. Did she say you should forgive me? No. I nodded. That sounds like Rose. Sophie opened her backpack. She removed several envelopes and a small remote control. Grandma gave these to me in Portland. When? 3 weeks before she died. What are they? One is for Mom. One is for me. One is for Marcus. And one controls the system in room 17. What system? She had cameras installed. I stared at her. Why? She said people tell the truth differently when they think a dying woman will not remember it. Rose had recorded several conversations inside room 17. Some with Thomas. Some with Anna. One with Marcus. What did he say? Sophie looked toward the locked 3rd floor. I don't know. Grandma made me promise not to watch. She said you had to decide whether the truth was for revenge or repair. Rose had placed the decision inside my hands. Even after death, she refused to do the moral work for me. Our attorney, Leah Rosen, reviewed the evidence the following day. She had been Rose's friend for almost 30 years. Leah wore red glasses and had no patience for dramatic pauses unless she was creating them. She placed the transfer documents on her desk. The sale cannot close without your signature unless Marcus is declared your legal guardian. He has temporary authority. Operational authority. Not ownership. But if the capacity hearing goes against you, he can seek approval. What about Rose's interest? Leah looked at Anna. Then at me. Rose changed her estate plan. When? 4 months ago. What did she change? I cannot disclose the complete terms until the memorial. Why? Because your wife enjoyed controlling a room even more than I do. Anna almost smiled. It was the first time I saw Rose inside her face. Leah continued. I can tell you this. Marcus does not own Holloway House. Neither do you. Who does? A trust that becomes active when Rose's final reservation is fulfilled. What does that mean? It means room 17 must be opened at the time listed on the reservation card. In the presence of the named beneficiaries and at least 12 witnesses who are not family members. Until then, the trust remains sealed. I looked at Anna. Did you know? No. Sophie did not answer. Anna turned toward her. Did you? Grandma told me only that I had to attend. And if Marcus stopped me, I should show Miriam the envelope. Rose had constructed the memorial as a legal lock. Marcus could not complete the sale before it. He could not access the trust without us. And by announcing everything publicly, he would create the witnesses Rose required. She knew exactly what he would do, Anna said. Leah shook her head. No. She knew exactly who everyone had become. We developed a plan. It was not a revenge plan. At least, that was what I kept telling myself. We would allow Marcus to conduct the memorial. If he told the truth, canceled the sale, and acknowledged Anna's innocence, we would handle the fraud privately through restitution and resignation. If he lied publicly, room 17 would answer publicly. Anna did not like the arrangement. You are giving him another opportunity. Yes. You never gave me one. The words cut through every legal explanation. I know. Why does he deserve what I didn't receive? He doesn't. Then why? I answered honestly. Because I am still learning how not to fail my children. Anna looked away. That sounds noble. It isn't. I'm terrified that exposing him will destroy whatever remains of our family. Our family was destroyed 12 years ago. No. I looked toward Sophie. It was damaged. There is a difference as long as people are still willing to enter the same room. Anna did not forgive me. But she agreed to attend. The night before the memorial, Marcus came to see me. He stood inside my apartment holding the unsigned transfer folder. You have made this unnecessarily ugly. Nothing has happened yet. Anna is in town. Yes. Thomas Avery met with an attorney. Yes. Do you understand what happens if accusations become public? Do you? Marcus walked toward the window. Below us, employees arranged chairs for Rose's memorial. She loved this place more than anything. She loved us more. You really believe that? I know it. She spent her final months investigating me. She spent her final months trying to stop all of us from making the worst choices available. Marcus turned. I cannot undo what happened to Anna. You can tell the truth. And then what? I lose the inn. Celeste leaves me. People in town call me a criminal. Sophie hates me. Your daughter already knows. His face changed. How? Rose told her enough. Marcus sat down. For the first time, he looked tired rather than dangerous. I never wanted Anna gone this long. But every year made telling the truth more expensive. So you kept allowing her to pay the price? Yes. The admission was barely audible. I sat across from him. Cancel the sale tomorrow. Tell everyone I am competent. Then tell Anna the truth. We will face the rest together. Marcus stared at the floor. You would still stand beside me? I would stand beside you while you faced consequences. I would not stand between you and them. He looked toward me. That was the closest my son came to stopping everything. For several seconds, I believed he would. Then Celeste appeared in the doorway. "We need to go." Marcus did not move. She looked at the folder. "Did he sign?" "No." Celeste's expression cooled. "Then tomorrow we proceed as planned." Marcus stood. He avoided my eyes. That was his decision. The memorial began at 7 the following evening. Candles lined the staircase. Rose's favorite white hydrangeas filled the dining room. A string quartet played near the windows. Her framed photograph stood beside the reception desk. She was laughing in it. Rose had rejected serious photographs whenever possible. Guests arrived carrying memories. A couple who spent their honeymoon with us in 1990 brought the room key Rose had allowed them to keep. A former housekeeper brought a recipe card. Mrs. Pike's grandson brought the original note his grandmother had written, unaware Rose kept a copy behind the desk. The building felt full of her. Not in a supernatural way. In the way a person remains when she has shaped thousands of ordinary moments. Anna and Sophie entered through the side door. Marcus noticed immediately. Celeste whispered something into his ear. He shook his head. Perhaps he believed removing them would attract attention. Perhaps part of him still remembered our conversation. At 8:15, Marcus took the microphone. He spoke beautifully about Rose. That was difficult to hear. A person can love someone genuinely and still betray everything she valued. He described her courage, her humor, the way she remembered every returning guest. He told the story of Mrs. Pike. People cried. So did Marcus. His tears were real. That did not make his lies less real. Then his speech changed. Mom believed every ending contained a beginning. Tonight, our family must accept both. He invited Celeste to stand beside him. Then placed one hand on my shoulder. Dad has been struggling since Mom became ill. The room became still. He has experienced confusion, difficulty managing finances, and moments when he no longer recognizes what is best for himself or the end. Dr. Franklin stood near the back. His face hardened. Marcus had invited him without realizing the doctor would not support the lie. Marcus continued. The family has therefore made the difficult decision to sell Holloway House to Halcyon Resorts. Dad will move to Cedar Pines, where he can receive the support he deserves. The sale will preserve Mom's legacy while allowing the property to enter a new era. Preserve. Developers and dishonest relatives both love that word. It makes destruction sound respectful. Marcus raised his glass. To Mom. And to the next chapter. A few guests applauded. Victor Lane smiled near the front. Celeste exhaled with relief. Marcus looked at me. He had chosen the lie. At exactly 8:42, I reached across the front desk and rang Rose's brass bell. Once. Twice. 3 times. Miriam stepped from behind a curtain. The room reacted with surprise. Marcus had fired her. Rose had invited her. She held the reservation card and the key. "Mr. Holloway, your wife's final reservation is ready." Anna stood. Sophie removed Rose's envelope. Leah Rosen entered beside Thomas Avery and 2 representatives from the county probate office. More than 12 non-family witnesses surrounded us. Every condition Rose created had been met. We climbed to room 17. Most guests followed into the hallway and adjoining rooms. The television feed was connected to the screens downstairs. Whatever Rose said would be heard throughout Holloway House. I unlocked the door. The lamp turned on. The roses waited. The television illuminated. And my wife returned to us for the final time. Rose looked into the camera. "James, if you are watching this, I am sorry I left you with one final mess." A few guests laughed through tears. So did I. It sounded exactly like her. But I know my husband. He is loyal long after loyalty becomes denial. He mistakes silence for dignity. And he believes delaying pain can prevent it. James, it cannot. I lowered my eyes. Rose continued. Marcus, I know you are there. My son stood near the door. His face had become colorless. I know you took the renovation money. I know you used Anna's access code. I know Thomas was threatened into supporting the internal report. And I know you spent 12 years telling yourself that one terrible decision did not define you. Marcus closed his eyes. Celeste took half a step away from him. Rose's voice softened. You were right about one thing, son. One decision does not define a person. But the decisions used to protect it may. The screen changed. Security records appeared. Bank transfers. Marcus's administrator access. The failed land purchase agreement. Thomas's signed statement. Then a recording began. Marcus sat beside Rose's bed in room 17 3 weeks before her death. He looked exhausted. Rose's voice came from behind the camera. Tell me what happened. Marcus rubbed his face. I used Anna's code. I thought I could replace the money before anyone noticed. When the project failed, I panicked. Dad already believed she was irresponsible. I only had to give him something that looked certain. The recording stopped. Anna made a sound I had never heard from another person. Not a sob. Something deeper. The sound of 12 stolen years becoming undeniable. I turned toward her. She backed away. Not yet. I stopped. Even then, I had to learn that apology did not give me the right to approach. Rose returned to the screen. Celeste, you learned the truth 6 years ago. Celeste's face changed. Marcus turned toward her. What? Rose displayed an email Celeste had written after discovering the failed development file. She had told Marcus that confessing would destroy their future. She recommended keeping Anna away and eventually selling the inn before the old records could be found. Marcus stared at his wife. You said you didn't know. Celeste lowered her voice. I was protecting our family. Anna laughed through tears. No. You were protecting your comfort. Rose's image remained steady. Now we come to Holloway House. Leah opened the black box on the desk. Inside were the trust documents. Rose explained that 6 months earlier, she transferred her ownership into the Holloway House Preservation Trust. After her death, the remaining ownership interest automatically entered the trust if anyone attempted to sell the property through incapacity proceedings. The trust required agreement from me, Anna, Sophie when she reached 21, and an elected council representing long-term employees. Marcus had no authority to sell. The contract with Halcyon was invalid. Victor Lane quietly left the downstairs ballroom before the video ended. Rose continued. Holloway House does not belong to one Holloway. It belongs to every person who carried luggage, changed sheets, repaired pipes, cooked breakfast, welcomed strangers, and kept this place alive when our family was too busy hurting one another. Employees downstairs began crying. Miriam covered her mouth. Thomas lowered his head. Then Rose looked directly into the camera again. Anna, I am sorry I could not bring you home while I was alive. I tried to protect your father from the truth because I knew it would break him. That was wrong. You had already been broken, and I asked you to wait for us to become brave. Anna pressed both hands against her face. Sophie held her. James, this is the part you must do yourself. The screen went dark. For several seconds, no one moved. My wife had exposed the truth. But she had refused to deliver my apology. That remained mine. I walked downstairs. The memorial guests stood in silence. Marcus remained behind me. Celeste had disappeared into the third-floor hallway. I took the microphone from the table. Anna stood near the back. Sophie beside her. I did not call them forward. I had demanded enough movement from my daughter for one lifetime. My wife spent her final months correcting a lie I helped make possible. My voice shook. I allowed it. Anna did not steal from this family. She did not betray Holloway House. I betrayed her. The room remained silent. I believed records because records did not cry. They did not accuse me of favoring one child. They did not force me to examine the kind of father I had become. I chose the evidence presented by the child I trusted to run my business over the voice of the child asking me to believe her. I looked at Sophie. And when Anna left, I allowed pride to steal her daughter from me too. No one made me remain silent for 12 years. Marcus lied. But every year after that, I chose not to call. That part belongs to me. I turned toward Anna. I am sorry. I do not expect those words to repair anything. I do not expect forgiveness because the truth finally embarrassed me into becoming brave. I only want every person in this room to know that you were innocent. And I was wrong. Anna cried silently. She did not come toward me. She did not forgive me. That made the moment more honest. Marcus walked to the center of the room. No one invited him. No one stopped him. He looked toward Anna. Then toward the guests. His public confidence had disappeared. I took the money. His voice was barely audible. He lifted the microphone. I used Anna's access code. I created the report. I threatened Thomas. And I allowed my sister and niece to lose 12 years because I was afraid of losing this hotel. Anna's voice came from the back. You were not afraid of losing the hotel. Marcus looked at her. You were afraid of losing Dad's opinion of you. The sentence struck both of us. Marcus looked toward me. His eyes filled. She's right. He lowered the microphone. You always looked at me like I was the one who would continue everything. When the cottages failed, I did not only lose money. I thought I had become a disappointment. So I made Anna look like one instead. I wanted to tell him I had never required perfection. Then I remembered every time I praised his numbers and dismissed Anna's work as kindness rather than leadership. Children learn expectations from what receives attention. I made you believe love had to be earned through success. Marcus looked at me. I am sorry for that. But what you did was still your choice. I know. Celeste returned downstairs carrying her coat. Marcus turned. Where are you going? I need to speak with an attorney. We need to speak with one. No. She looked around the room. This began before I knew you. Anna stepped forward. You helped keep it hidden. Celeste's face hardened. I protected my husband. You helped him erase a mother and child from their family. Do not call that protection. Celeste left. Marcus watched the door close. Their marriage did not end that night. But the version built on shared secrecy did. Leah explained the immediate consequences. The halcyon sale was cancelled. Marcus was suspended from all hotel operations. The Trust Council would assume temporary management. Financial evidence would be provided to investigators. Thomas would give a formal statement. Marcus nodded after each sentence. For once, he did not negotiate. The memorial ended without a toast. Guests approached Rose's photograph one at a time. Some touched the frame. Some left room keys, notes, or flowers. No one spoke about the next chapter. We had barely survived the final page of the old one. Anna left with Sophie shortly before midnight. I followed them onto the porch. The ocean wind moved through the hydrangeas. Anna. She stopped. I remained several feet away. Thank you for coming. I came for Mom. I know. She looked toward the third-floor windows. She knew how to force everyone into the same room. She had practice. Anna almost smiled. Then the expression disappeared. I don't know what happens now. Neither do I. You always need a plan. Your mother had enough plans for all of us. Sophie opened the passenger door. Before entering, she looked at me. Mr. Holloway? Yes? There's an empty chair at Mom's apartment on Sunday. Anna turned toward her. Sophie. I'm not saying he's forgiven. She looked at me. I'm saying we eat at 6. They drove away. I stood on the porch until their lights disappeared. It was not forgiveness. It was a chair. At 70, I finally understood how much hope could fit inside one. The legal consequences unfolded over the following year. Marcus pleaded guilty to fraud, falsifying financial records, and coercing Thomas into supporting the false report. The age of the original crime complicated the case. His attempt to use the false incapacity proceedings and complete the sale made it current again. He returned the money with interest by selling his home and personal investments. He received an 18-month sentence followed by supervised release. Celeste cooperated after prosecutors uncovered additional emails. She avoided prison but lost her professional licenses, repaid funds, and left Maine shortly after the divorce. Anna did not celebrate. Neither did I. Consequences can be necessary without becoming joyful. The temporary guardianship order was dismissed. Dr. Pierce admitted he had relied almost entirely on information provided by Marcus and Celeste. The medical board opened an investigation. Dr. Franklin sent me a bottle of whiskey with a note. For being the only sane man in a room full of strategic concern. I did not drink much of it. Rose had always said expensive whiskey tasted like furniture polish. The Holloway House Preservation Trust elected its first council. Miriam represented long-term employees. Thomas declined a position but agreed to advise the new bookkeeper. Anna was offered the family seat Rose had assigned her. She refused initially. "I don't want the hotel." We were eating Sunday dinner inside her apartment. It was my fourth invitation. The first two meals were uncomfortable. The third ended with an argument. The fourth felt almost ordinary. That frightened me more than the arguments because I wanted to protect it too carefully. The seat is not ownership. It is a vote. I spent 12 years building a life without Holloway House. I am not asking you to abandon it. Then what are you asking? To help us remember what your mother believed the inn was for. Anna looked toward Sophie. My granddaughter was studying at the kitchen counter. She had begun calling me James. It was progress from Mr. Holloway. Grandpa remained a country we had not reached. What would the position require? Anna asked. 4 meetings each year. Review of community programs. And permission to tell me when I am behaving like an idiot. I don't need a board seat for that. No. But your mother believed in formal procedures. Anna smiled. Then accepted. We spent the winter repairing Holloway House. The roof needed more work than Marcus claimed. The reserve fund needed careful restructuring. Several weddings cancelled after the scandal. Others remained specifically because Rose's story had spread through town. We did not market the betrayal. Celeste would have. We returned Mrs. Pike's framed note behind the desk. Miriam rehired every employee Marcus had dismissed. The staff housing remained. Room 17 stayed closed until spring. Sophie helped redesign it. Not as a luxury suite. As a small archive containing photographs, guest letters, Rose's recipes, and the history of the inn. She placed the final reservation card inside a glass case. Below it, she wrote, "Some rooms hold guests. Others hold the truth until a family is ready to enter." I thought the wording was slightly dramatic. Rose would have loved it. My relationship with Anna did not repair quickly. Stories often lie about forgiveness. They treat apology like a key placed into a lock. Turn it once and the door opens. Real forgiveness is more like rebuilding a house after water damage. You remove what has rotted. Discover more damage underneath. Repair one room. Then realize the wall beside it has been carrying moisture for years. Anna asked hard questions. Why did you trust Marcus more? Why didn't you believe Mom? Why did you never send money when you knew I was struggling? Why did you sit outside my apartment and leave? Some answers made me look worse. I gave them anyway. I trusted Marcus because his mind worked like mine. I dismissed Rose because admitting she might be right would make me responsible for action. I did not send money because I believed Anna would return it and I could not tolerate another rejection. I left her apartment because cowardice often disguises itself as respect for boundaries. She did not always respond. Sometimes she ended dinner early. Sometimes I drove home furious because apology had not made the process easier. Then I remembered Rose's words. Begin badly. Call again. So I did. 6 months after the memorial, Sophie invited me to her college exhibition. She was studying documentary photography. One wall displayed photographs of Holloway House. Not the polished rooms used in brochures. Employees folding sheets. Miriam repairing the old reservation ledger. Anna sitting alone in room 17. Me standing behind the desk holding Rose's bell. The exhibition was titled, "The People Left Outside the Frame." I stood before the photograph of myself. Sophie approached. "Do you like it?" "I look old." "You are old." Your grandmother would have edited that response. She told me honesty was more useful. I looked at the photograph. "Why did you take this?" "Because you looked lost." "That is encouraging." She smiled. "But you stayed." There are compliments that sound small until you understand what they cost the person giving them. I stayed. For Sophie, that mattered. Before leaving, she hugged me. Quickly. Awkwardly. Then said, "Good night, Grandpa." I waited until I reached the parking lot before crying. I visited Marcus 2 months into his sentence. He entered the visitation room wearing plain clothing and an expression I had not seen since he was young. Uncertain. Without a title or schedule to control. We sat across from one another. "How is the inn?" "Still standing." "The north roof?" "Worse than you said." "I was hoping Halcyon would deal with it." "I know." Marcus looked at his hands. "Has Anna asked about me?" "Yes." His eyes lifted. "What did she ask?" "Whether you were eating." "That's all?" "That is not a small question from someone you harmed." He nodded. "I wrote to her." "She received it." "She didn't answer." "No." "Do you think she ever will?" "I don't know." Marcus looked toward the other families in the room. I keep replaying that night. The memorial? Room 17. Mom knew. Yes. She sat across from me and gave me another chance. Yes. I confessed to her. Then I still went through with the sale. He pressed both palms against his eyes. Why? I did not answer. He was not asking me. I thought if the sale happened, everything before it would become irrelevant. I would have money. Celeste would be happy. You would be somewhere safe. Anna would receive a settlement. And the lie would become history instead of danger. That is not how lies work. I know that now. No. I looked at him. You understand the consequences now. Knowing how lies work will take longer. Marcus became quiet. Then he asked, "Do you love me?" The question belonged to the child he had once been. Perhaps every terrible decision had been built around never asking it. Yes. After everything? Yes. Then why did you let me come here? Because loving you does not mean helping you escape what you did. That feels like a convenient answer. It is the hardest answer I have ever lived. He looked at me. I continued. I protected you emotionally by making achievement the center of our relationship. Then I protected myself by refusing to see what that did. Your mother protected me from the truth about Anna for too long. Thomas protected his son by lying. Celeste protected your future by helping you destroy your sisters. We have all used love as another word for fear. Marcus's eyes filled. What does love look like now? Coming back next month. And after that? Coming back again. That was what I did. Marcus wrote letters to Anna for 14 months. Most received no answer. He stopped asking me whether she had read them. He began writing without demanding proof that the apology was working. On the first anniversary of Rose's death, Anna entered room 17 alone. She remained there for almost an hour. When she came downstairs, she carried one of Marcus's letters. "I'm going to answer." "You don't have to." "I know." "What will you say?" "That I'm still angry. That I don't trust him. And that Mom would be furious if I pretended people could never change." She looked at me. "Don't make that face." "What face?" "The proud father face. I'm still angry with you too." "I know." "Good." Then she handed me a small box. Inside was the wooden boat I had made for Sophie. One side had broken. She asked whether you could repair it. I touched the cracked wood. "Yes." Anna looked toward the stairs. "Some things are worth repairing even when the break still shows." Rose would have enjoyed that sentence. She would also have claimed Anna learned it from her. Marcus returned to Bellwether after 18 months. He did not return to Holloway House immediately. He rented a small apartment above a hardware store. He found work maintaining cabins at a state park. For the first time in his adult life, no employee called him sir. No one cared what his family owned. He repaired fences, cleared trails, and cleaned fireplaces. 3 months after his return, Miriam found him standing across the road from the inn. He had not crossed the property line. She called me. "Your son is outside." "What is he doing?" "Looking." "Should I speak with him?" "No." "Why?" "Because he needs to decide whether he came to be invited or to make amends." Marcus stood there for 20 minutes. Then left. He returned the following week carrying tools. A storm had damaged part of the garden fence. He repaired it without entering the building. The week after that, he returned to paint the staff cottage. No one asked him. No one thanked him publicly. Real change becomes visible when a person continues after discovering there will be no applause. Anna watched him from the dining room window one afternoon. "He looks older." "He is. So are you." That was unnecessary. She almost laughed. "Do you want him back here?" "I want him healthy." That wasn't the question. "No." I looked toward Marcus. "I don't want the version who left. I'm not sure who is returning." "Neither is he." The employee council eventually offered Marcus part-time maintenance work. No access to finances. No management authority. No guarantee of advancement. He accepted. His first task was repairing the pipes beneath room 17. Rose would have appreciated the symbolism too much. On his third week, Marcus found Anna inside the hallway. They stood several feet apart. I was at the far end, close enough to hear but unwilling to interrupt. Marcus spoke first. "I don't know what I'm allowed to say." Anna folded her arms. "That never stopped you before?" He nodded. "No. It didn't." "I received your letters," she said. "I know." "How?" "Dad stopped giving me updates." "I assumed that meant you told him too." "I did." Marcus looked toward the floor. "I am sorry. You have written it 80 different ways. I keep hoping one will be enough. It won't." "I know." Anna's face softened slightly. "I lost 12 years. You cannot give them back." "No. Sophie grew up without this family." "I know. Mom died carrying a secret you created." "I know. I needed my brother." Marcus closed his eyes. "I know." Anna began crying. "You don't get to say you know as though knowing now means you were there." "I wasn't." "No. You were the reason I needed someone." Marcus nodded. Then did something I had rarely seen him do. He remained quiet without using silence to escape. After a long time, Anna said, "I'm not ready to call you my brother again." "I understand. But the staff eats dinner at 6. You can sit at the far end." Marcus looked at her. "Is that an invitation?" "It is a chair. Don't make it larger than it is." I turned away before either of them saw me crying. A chair had become the language of our family. Not forgiveness. Not restoration. Only room for the possibility of both. 2 years after Rose's final reservation, Holloway House celebrated its 40th summer. We did not hold a gala. Rose disliked galas. She said people behaved unnaturally around folded napkins. Instead, we arranged long wooden tables across the lawn. Employees brought food. Former guests returned. Children played near the hydrangeas. Miriam placed Mrs. Pike's framed note beside the front desk. Anna now managed the inn's community and guest programs. She refused the title of owner. The trust owns it. People care for it. That is enough. Sophie documented the celebration with an old camera Rose had given her. She had graduated and begun creating oral histories of family-run businesses. Whenever she introduced me, she said, "This is my grandfather, James." I pretended the order of those words did not matter. It mattered more than almost anything. Marcus worked full-time in maintenance. The council had offered him a supervisory role. He declined. "I'm not ready to be responsible for other people." Miriam told him that awareness was the first qualification he had ever possessed for management. Thomas attended with his son. Their relationship remained complicated. Thomas once told me, "I thought confessing would remove the guilt." Did it? No. It only gave the guilt a useful job. Near sunset, Anna asked everyone to gather near the porch. She held the old brass bell. Mom believed every story needed a bell before the final act. People laughed. Anna rang it once. Then she looked at me. "Dad, say something." I was promised there would be no speeches. Mom is dead. She cannot enforce the promise. That has not stopped her so far. The guests laughed. I stood beside Rose's photograph. For several moments, I did not know what to say. Then I looked toward room 17. 40 years ago, Rose and I opened 6 rooms. The roof leaked. The plumbing complained. And our first guest found a mouse. We believed we were building an inn. I was wrong. Rose was building a place where people could carry what they had lost. For many years, I thought that meant our guests. I understand now that she was also building it for us. I looked at Anna. For the daughter I sent away. For the granddaughter who returned without owing me anything. For the son who had to lose his place here before understanding what belonging required. And for an old man who confused being certain with being right. The lawn became quiet. Family is not proven by who inherits the building. It is proven by who tells the truth when the truth may cost them their place inside it. Family is not endless protection from consequences. Sometimes consequences are the only doorway back to character. I looked toward Marcus. He met my eyes. And forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not pretending the missing years did not matter. It is not restoring every title, key, or privilege. Sometimes forgiveness is only an empty chair at 6 o'clock. And the courage to keep arriving without demanding that it become more. No one applauded immediately. Rose would have approved. She believed a sentence should be allowed to settle before people made noise around it. Then Sophie began clapping. Anna joined. Miriam. Thomas. The employees. The guests. Finally, Marcus. After dinner, I found my son standing alone inside room 17. The final reservation card remained beneath glass. He read his mother's special instruction again. Do not allow Marcus to enter before James. She knew I would try to get inside. Yes. She knew everything. No. He looked at me. She knew us. That was usually enough. Marcus touched the glass. Do you think she would forgive me? Yes. He turned. You answered quickly. She would forgive you. Then she would watch you like a prison guard for the next 20 years. Marcus laughed. That sounds like Mom. He looked toward the window. The lighthouse flashed across the dark water. I spent my whole life wanting this place. And now? I want to deserve being inside it. That is different. Yes. It is. Anna appeared in the doorway. The staff is cleaning up. Marcus turned. "I'll help." She nodded. Then looked at me. "Sophie wants a family photograph before everyone leaves." I hesitated. "Everyone?" Anna understood the question. She looked at Marcus. Then back at me. "Everyone who came back." We stood on the porch. Anna beside Sophie. Marcus several feet from them. Miriam complained that the lighting was terrible. Thomas insisted his eyes had been closed in the first photograph. Children moved at the wrong moment. Nothing was arranged perfectly. In the final photograph, I am not looking at the camera. I am looking toward the empty space beside me. The place where Rose should have stood. For a long time, that detail made me sad. Then Sophie printed the photograph and placed it behind the reception desk. Below it, she added a line from Rose's final letter. "A person does not disappear from a family merely because she is no longer visible inside the picture." Rose was right. She remained inside every repaired room. Every chair left open. Every difficult truth spoken before it became another lost decade. My son tried to sell our family home while we gathered to remember his mother. He tried to declare me incompetent. He believed age, grief, and guilt would keep me silent. For many years, they had. But Rose understood that truth does not always need to arrive loudly. Sometimes it waits inside a locked room. Inside an old letter. Inside a child's memory. Inside a reservation made by a woman who knew she would never sleep there again. The final reservation did not save Holloway House by itself. It only opened the door. We still had to enter. We still had to confess. Face consequences. Return to uncomfortable tables. And accept that repaired families never look exactly as they did before the damage. They can still become strong. Not because the cracks disappear. Because everyone finally stops pretending they were never there. Room 17 remains available today. We do not charge more for it. Rose would object to turning truth into a premium package. Guests sometimes ask whether the story is real. Miriam points toward the reservation card. Then toward the old brass bell. She never gives them a direct answer. Rose taught her well. Every October 18th, at 8:42 in the evening, our family gathers inside that room. We bring dinner. Anna complains that Marcus overcooks the vegetables. Marcus reminds her that she once burned an entire tray of muffins. Sophie takes photographs no one approves beforehand. I sit near the window. One chair remains empty. Not because we are waiting for Rose to return. Because she never completely left. Before dinner begins, someone rings the bell. Then we tell the truth about the year behind us. The mistakes. The resentments. The conversations we avoided. The apologies still incomplete. It is not a comfortable tradition. Most worthwhile family traditions are not. The first year, Marcus admitted he resented working without authority. Anna admitted part of her enjoyed watching him struggle. I admitted I sometimes expected gratitude for doing what I should have done years earlier. Sophie admitted she photographed us because she was still afraid the family would disappear again. No one solved those feelings that night. We simply stopped hiding them. That is what Rose's final reservation gave us. Not ownership. Not revenge. Not a perfect ending. A room where the truth could arrive before another person was forced to leave. And after everything our family lost, that became the most valuable room inside Holloway House.